So you've narrowed down your search to 3 professionals that you think could be a good fit to design your next renovation or custom home. And if you haven't interviewed an architect or designer before, you might be intimidated. You're not sure what to expect or what information to bring along. In this video, we'll talk all about that initial call or meeting and everything that you should have ready so that you can find and hire the right architect or designer for your next home construction project. Stay tuned. Hey there, Jake with JWK Design here, helping families just like yours create their comfortable modern home. On this channel, you'll find videos on tips for planning your next renovation, great landscape design ideas, and strategies for working with architects, designers, and contractors just like this one. If you're new here, consider subscribing and ring that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. This video is part 2 of a series all about finding, interviewing, hiring, and working with architects and designers for your next home construction project. And before we get started, if you haven't watched the first video in the series, I'll link to it up in the cards, where I show you the best places, both online and off, to find great design professionals. Your first contact probably won't be face-to-face. Some architects prefer to have lengthy forms on their website. Some prefer to have a few emails back and forth before deciding to meet face-to-face. And some like to have an initial phone call. I set up a free 20-minute discovery call with all of my potential clients where we talk generally about the scope of the project, budget, and timeline, and that gives me a pretty good idea whether we'd be a good fit. If those initial emails or phone calls are successful and it seems like it's going to be a good fit, you'll set up a face-to-face meeting. Now, face-to-face meetings kind of fall into 2 camps. One would be more of a get to know you, whereas the other would be very project specific and you'll dive right into the details. And depending on what type of meeting the designer typically likes to have, that may also determine the venue. Might be a more informal coffee or a meeting right in their office if they have a separate conference space. I always prefer to have an initial meeting right at the house or property so I can start to get a sense of the space and scope of work. The other way that initial meetings are typically broken out would be paid versus unpaid. And in my opinion, it's definitely worth paying for an hour of a professional's time considering the investment that you're about to make. After all, would you take free medical or legal advice at face value? Next, let's talk about the 5 pieces of information that you should be ready with at the first meeting. You should have a general sense of the scope of work that you're looking to tackle. If you're thinking about a renovation, it could be the rooms that you're looking to change or add on, a custom home, the overall size of the home, number of beds and baths, any special features, and if it's a landscape project, the elements that you'd like to see incorporated into your yard. Next is schedule, and I always recommend to be a little conservative here, leaving yourself some wiggle room for the unexpecteds that come up during a construction project. If you have kids, you'll want to take the school year and summer break into account, and you'll also want to think about your holiday planning. Though you may want everyone on the team to really push to get things done for a Thanksgiving or Christmas gathering, you should be prepared for your architect and then your contractor to give you realistic timelines. Next, have an understanding of where you are in the process. Are you looking to hire someone right away, or are you putting feelers out there to hire within the next 6 to 12 months? Next is budget. Now, you'll want to be conservative here as well as allow for a 10% contingency. A contingency being money set aside for, again, those unknowns. Now, if you're financing your project with a construction loan, it's always a great idea to talk to your mortgage broker first, similar to the home buying process. And finally, you should understand and bring examples of your design style. These could be images that you scanned to email, or even the clipped or dog-eared magazines where they came from, your house.com idea book, or your pinterest.com board. These 5 things are as much for you to understand what you're looking for in a construction project, as well as for the architect or designer to gauge whether the project would be a good fit for their skills and services. In the next videos in this series, we'll get into the specific questions you should be asking during those interviews and meetings, and we'll be starting with design style and personality. If you want to learn more about the entire process of renovating your home to that comfortable, modern space that you've always wanted, click the link in the description below for your free copy of my renovation roadmap. You'll learn about strategies for planning your renovation, the different phases of design, how to bid out to contractors, and much more. Be sure to like this video, subscribe below, and if you know someone that's planning a home construction project, share it on your favorite platform. Thanks so much for watching. See ya.